Hey yo, Go Format players, it's Skilled Brown Magician here, and huge shout outs to my sub, ProminencE, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't all be here today watching this video. So he was the one that recommended this card to me, Daedalus, and it is the inspiration behind my second deck profile in the sub recommended series. So huge shout outs to ProminencE again. He was the one that recommended this card, and I didn't even know the history behind it at the time. I didn't know all the craziness with with the uh, the errata, but it's a really interesting card. The artwork is super sick. It's a sea serpent, super hard to bring out, but I figured out a way. This is the second profile, and it's Ocean Gate Dragons. Let's check out the profile. Okay, so something I did want to bring up to you guys is that I mentioned this in the last video, but I am always going to be leaving these slides in the description below so that way you guys can access it. So that way you guys can do exactly what I'm going to show you right now. So you're going to open up my slides. You're going to go here. You're going to click on it. It's going to take you to this link. You're going to see the exact profile that I'm describing in this video. And just if you didn't notice, there is a download button. And we can hit that. Sorry, I'm not sure if you guys are able to see. There's a little taskbar in the way. But this download button, you can hit download. You will have this exact deck. You can open up your own dueling book, go into your deck constructor, and then just hit import, and then you'll be able to upload this deck profile and you'll be able to test it just like that. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys because I want you guys to be able to test out the decks, and if you're already here watching, you might as well test it out, right? Okay, so I'm just going to go through kind of the card by card, and then I'll go into the rationale behind each card. So obviously DMOC, it is a staple in any Reasoning Gate deck, and this is obviously a Reasoning Gate deck. So here's where I already get into the spice, because I'm running a Cyberstein. Obviously, his effect, you pay the 5,000 life points, special summon any fusion monster from your extra deck and attack position. He helps you swing for game because you're primarily bringing out Master of Oz, or he's just for utility. He gets out whatever you need or whatever that could help you currently, depending on the game state. So if they have a lot of face downs out, maybe you'll bring out Gatling Dragon. Maybe you're worried about their traps, you can bring out Ryu Senshi. You want to swing for game, then you can just go with Master of Oz. Maybe Chaos is causing you some issues, go into Darkblade, right? So Cyberstein becomes this utility. Not only that, he's a level 2, so he's a normal summon. I'll get back to that later. Injection Fairy Lily, pay 2,000 life points, make her gain 3,000 attack, and this is during damage step. So a lot of times people will book, I'll like attack, I'll pay the 2,000, and then they'll activate Book of Moon, and they'll say, okay, flipper, and then pay the 2,000. And then it actually doesn't work like that because you're paying during damage calculation, right? It's during that damage calculation only. I think it's once per battle. So during damage calculation in neither player's turn. So they would have to activate Book of Moon when you declare your attack. So just something I wanted to point out. Also, level 3, no one's going to guess it, and it's a normal summon. Now we get into one of our boss monsters, one of the sickest sea serpents in the game, Levia Dragon Daedalus, level 7, water, 2,600 attack, 1,500 defense, and a nasty effect which reads, you can send one face-up Umi you control to the graveyard and destroy all other cards on the field. So he's a complete board wipe, and he's just a 2,600 beat stick. What's interesting is that a lot of people see him and they're like 7 stars. That's not really good because he's not a 1 tribute. But if you have a legendary ocean, which counts as Umi, all water monsters on the field gain 200 attack and defense, and also you can reduce the level of all water monsters in both players' hands and on the field by 1. So he gets reduced to 6 in hand, so he becomes a 1 tribute monster in hand. And there's some cool plays where when he goes back to 7, And it's my own kind of strategy with this deck. I'll get to it later in the next slide. Okay, Aqua Spirit, she's the water special summon. You just banish a water from your graveyard and then she gets special summoned. She's has a additional effect during each of your opponent's standby phases. Change the battle position of one of your opponent's face-up monster cards. When they're changed, they have to remain in that battle position for the rest of the turn. So if they have a big attacker, you can put them into defense, and it kind of helps you stall for a little bit. And what's important is the fact that she's a special summon. All right, Ocean Dragon Lord Neo Daedalus. So he had some crazy, just some crazy history surrounding him, because I guess when he first came here, uh, his translation didn't include, I think, the fact that he can't be normal summoned or set, and basically it made it super easy. I forget what the errata did, but it basically, when he first came over, he was way too easy to bring out, so they had to nerf him essentially. And now this is the form that we're left with, which is difficult, and which is why no one plays this card, and which is why when you get him out and you pull off the combo, it's crazy. So his effect reads, he can't be normal summoned or set, so he gets skipped over when you're going through Monster Gate or Reasoning. That's important. This card can't be special summoned except by attributing a Levia Dragon Daedalus. Then he has a similar effect to Levia Dragon, except it's even more disgusting because you send Umi to the graveyard that you control, and you send all cards in both players' hands and on the field to the graveyard except this card. So everything just gets sent. It's insane. It's so funny. So as a Reasoning Gate deck, it's combo. You're using all of your cards to get out a board that you hope lasts, and hopefully it gets you the OTK or it gets you game. What's interesting about this deck is it allows you to hit the reset button for both players, because you use all of your cards for your combo, and then you just say, and guess what? All of your cards are gone too. So it's super cool, super cool. And when you pull it off, people are like, dang. I had one guy say, like, that's yucky. And it is. Obviously premature, crazy extender. Now I'm going to try to speed up and get through these. Scapegoat, obviously for defense, Monster Gate, Reasoning Gate, staple. Meta, you meta Scapegoat into a Thousand Eyes Restrict, take one of their monsters, bait out one of their back row. If nothing goes through, let's say a Book of Moon goes through, fine, flip your monster face down. But guess what? That was a special summon. So now if you have Levia in hand, you tribute, Prio, destroy everything on field if you have Umi out. So Meta and Scapegoat gets you a tribute fodder for Levia Dragon, and it's a special summon. Pot of Greed, Graceful, Snatch Steal, and the 3 Brain Control. So Brain Control, Premature, and these cards are 2 normal summons. These are the only things that pay life points in this deck. So that's why I feel pretty safe in running both of these normal summons, because you can get their effects off most of the time. You're not running anything like Solemn or anything that really requires you to pay life points. So Monster Gate, obviously, 2 Reasoning, because in this deck, 3 Reasoning, it's just too much, especially the way that I had to build this. I could only run Levia, and I didn't want to run other waters. I wanted these strong normal summons for OTK potential, and just because they're going to get under everyone's radar for Reasoning calls, because they're 2 and 3. But I run 2 Reasoning because everyone's going to guess 7 when they get hit by the Daedalus and Legendary Ocean combo. Like, they're not going to want to get hit by that again, so they're just going to call strictly 7. So whenever you do the Reasoning, there's some mental math that you can do to figure this out. I run 2 Reload just because it's Reasoning Gate. Then triple Terraforming, triple Field Spell because you need it for the combo. And then 2 Monster Reincarnation because this is a card that makes the deck flow really well. Because you can swap out your combo pieces from hand that are bricking your hand, right? If you have a Neo Daedalus that's bricking, you can trade it out for an Aqua Spirit engrave. Now you can banish Neo Daedalus because it's in graveyard to special summon Aqua Spirit. And now you have a tribute fodder for your Levia plays or your Monster Gate plays, right? So lots of synergy with Monster Reincarnation and the water monsters. It's even really strong to pull out an Injection Fairy Lily late game. So some interesting side cards. You could use Water Fenrir. He's a water type, and he's 1400 attack, but he removes 2 water monsters from grave, so he's a little harder to bring out. And I don't really want to be removing that much because I do run Monster Reincarnation, so I don't want to remove from play that many water monsters. You could run Dimension Fusion, but like I said, I only have these as viable targets. So I just have 6 targets that are actually, you know, targets off of Defusion. And then double attack, this card's really spicy, and I think this one has the most potential because you could squeeze it in and it will help you swing for the OTK, and it actually flows with the deck even more. It kind of reminds me of like a different monster reincarnation because it requires that you discard a card from your hand, specifically a monster card. Then you select a monster on your side of the field with a lower level than the discarded monster. The selected monster can attack twice this turn. Guess what? You brick with Daedalus sometimes, and you have it in hand. And if you were to discard him, he's a level 8, which basically makes it so that Aqua Spirit, excuse me, can attack twice. She's 32. Levia Dragon could attack twice, which is 52. Imagine Injection Fairy Lily attacking twice. That's sick. That's so spicy. And then Cyberstein, obviously, whatever you bring out off of this. And then if it's under level 8, it would be able to attack twice. So that's just the spice with that card. I actually saw this card thanks to Necromancy for Kids, another GOAT format channel. So you should go check him out as well. Shout outs to him. Awesome. So that's the deck profile, but let me just go over some of the stratagems that I figured out from playing this myself and play testing. So here's some wisdom that I'm going to pass on to you so you don't have to suffer the way that I did. So first, don't reveal key cards like Legendary Ocean before you drop your reasoning, because if you reveal too many key cards, too many water cards, they're going to be able to guess when you drop reasoning, and they're going to call 7, and that sucks. Building off of the reasoning idea is do the mental math on your reasonings. I built it so it's only 6, so it's split 3 Levias, 3 of your alts. Democ, Cyberstein, Fairy Injection, Lily. I made it so the mental math's really easy to do the probability of what's going to come out, right? Is one of your alts going to come out, or is one of your Levias going to come out? If you have a Levia in grave, a Levia in hand, and you haven't seen any of your alts yet, if you drop a reasoning, chances are they're going to call 7, and you're going to get a free summon, either Democ, Cyberstein, or Fairy Injection Lily. That can be devastating at that point in the game, right? So, super powerful. Do the mental math. It's really quick, and it'll help you get cleaner plays, cleaner run-throughs with the deck. So here's my optimal strategy, and it's the meta, and this is what I was talking about with Levia Dragon's level actually being 7 when Umi's not on the field, which if you read his effect, you have to send Umi off the field to destroy everything, so he goes back up to level 7. So you clear the board with Levia's effect, you swing with Levia for 26, then if you have meta in hand, you can meta him, you can meta Levia into a King Dragoon because he's a 7 now that Umi's off the field. And then you can just sit on King Dragoon until you build up your combo pieces again to swing. So you can attack in waves, right? It fits the strategy, it fits the theme. I thought that was so cool and such a spicy little interaction that I feel like hasn't really been exploited with Daedalus. So King Dragoon, if you don't know what his effect is, he's a fusion dragon, 2400 attack. I think he has 1000 defense. But his effect reads that he can't be targeted by spell, trap, or monster effect. So you can sit on him. He's a pretty good monster to sit on. And if you don't attack too, he's even more protected. So another thing is don't go into Daedalus if it isn't guaranteed, because if they have any back row and you bring him out and then you prio his effect, they could still potentially just chain and get rid of Daedalus, and that really sucks, right? That really sucks. I've gotten ringed once because he basically already had the out. Because when you bring out Daedalus, it's basically it's a race against time. It's a coin toss or a race against time essentially, because you're clearing the field, resetting both players' hands. You have the advantage because you have a 2900 beat stick. So you're just going to be swinging in and you're hoping you can kill him in time before he can draw the out from his deck. However, there's ways of playing around this. You just want to play Daedalus late game, because if you can see in his grave that he's already burned through his Mirror Force, Ring, Torrential, all of his outs, Snatch, right? Then you know that you should be safe, right? And you should be able to get those swings in. But just make sure when you bring him out, it's guaranteed. I already mentioned this. Scapegoat plus meta nets you one opposing monster removal, and it's a bait for back row. Then it gives you tribute fodder for Levia, a normal summon, or for monster gate fodder. Levia plus the Umi combo to clear the field. And if you have Cyberstein or Fairy Injection Lily in hand, that's typically game. And that's the reason I play Cyberstein and Fairy Injection Lily. It's because their effects are so powerful and they're normal summons. In most reasoning gate builds, you brick because you get chaos monsters in hand, you get tribute monsters in hand, and you just don't have the stuff ready for it, right? You don't have the lights and darks in grave, or you don't have the tribute fodder, or you just have scapegoat tokens and you're like, great. So in this deck, I understood the premise of choosing those tribute monsters because they just have really good monster effects. But I also thought it fit into this strategy that I don't pay life points too much in this deck. And both of these are normal summons and they have really good effects, and it's for OTK potential. So that's the spice and why I chose them. And then last, Daedalus. Daedalus becomes stronger late game as your opponent runs out of outs. So once again, shout outs to ProminencE. Hope you guys like the deck. Really hope that you guys look at the slides, download it, try it out for yourself. Let me know how you run it. Let me know your opponent's reactions when you pull off the Daedalus combo. Please let me know. I want to know because it's so funny when I do it. So also, I just wanted to say, my subscriber Dylan, we were talking about a Dino deck, and I just wanted to let you know that I already have the deck profile, and it's going to be Concealed Dinos. Watch out for that one, guys. It's a Dino archetype deck. It's a Dino type deck based around just dinos and my take on it. So that one's coming up next, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, take care.